Alright, what's happening, guys? Welcome to another episode of Sensible Investing. My name is Jesse, and today we've got part one of two parts of my favorite two dividend stocks for 2020. And the reason why I wanted to bring you this video and cover these two stocks is not only because they pay a very high dividend yield that's increasing and will be increasing for the medium term, but also I believe in the sort of short to medium term, they will be able to benefit from a nice re-rate. Okay, so it's a bit of a double whammy, guys. And so before we get into covering these stocks, I just wanted to sort of give you a little pre-warning. These are very, very controversial stocks. Okay, guys. So we're going to be talking about legislative-related controversy. Okay, we're going to be talking about political controversy. Then these two stocks are very relevant to what's going on with Donald Trump's impeachment at the moment. And then finally, their sort of future success is also, I wouldn't say largely dependent on Donald Trump, but for the big price re-rate, it is dependent on Donald Trump. Obviously, the dividends won't be affected, but like I said at the beginning of the video, guys, this is going to be covering both the dividends and the re-rate. Okay, guys? Okay, so these stocks are in I guess a similar category to your likes of, your cigarette companies, your gambling companies, and then your Monsantos. Okay, guys? So, guys, trigger warning, these stocks that I'm going to cover today are one of only 3% of stocks that have no sell-side coverage on Wall Street. If you're a little bit sensitive and these types of outlandish investments aren't really your style, then what I would recommend is probably come back in 2 or 3 weeks once I finish covering these two parts of these high dividend stocks, where we look at something a little bit less controversial. Okay, if you guys haven't guessed it by now, the two stocks that we're talking about are CoreCivic, formerly the Corrections Corporation of America, and the Geo Group. Okay, guys, they are real estate investment trusts that invest in a particular type of property asset. Okay, guys, so real estate investment trusts, or REITs, these companies are set up a little bit differently to most other companies that are listed. Okay, so they invest the majority of their money and pay out the majority of their profits, typically 80 to 90%. Effectively, by buying a REIT, you are investing in these properties. And these two properties are very, very niche properties. Okay, guys, so we're talking private prisons, private detention centers, correctional facilities. We're talking sort of facilities for youth offenders. So it's very, very stable business with big government clients. But again, very, very controversial. And guys, if you're enjoying my videos and finding value in my research, then do make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and share the content. It really helps the channel grow. And if we can get these next two videos to 70 likes or more, then as always, I will make a copy of the report that I have written available for everybody to view. Okay, CoreCivic and Geo Group. Now, again, lots of news, lots of negative headlines going on. Oh, look, you're abusing asylum seekers, or you're putting everybody in cages and fences and whatnot. Look, and the thing is, there's always two sides to every story, okay, guys? And we have to understand the people campaigning against these companies are the likes of your, hardcore liberal Democrats. So obviously, there's going to be their story, okay? Because the other side of the story is the actual companies themselves, and they're very, very open and transparent about the actual types of facilities that they run, okay, guys? So you can see it's night and day. And, if you guys are interested, I would also encourage you to have a look at this news article where Fox goes and actually videos and tours through one of their facilities. And, you guys can say, well, look, Fox, right-wing media, okay, I get that, right? But however, the left to date has yet to produce any video evidence because, these facilities have invited them to tour any of their facilities, okay, guys? So I digress, okay? The purpose of this video is not to get into politics, but these two companies are very, very intertwined with what's going on at the moment. So, unfortunately, we have to unavoidably cover the politics, which is related to the industry, the microeconomics, and the two companies. Okay, guys? All right. If you buy Core Civic and the Geo Group today, you will be getting a rough forward dividend payout of about 11 to 12, 13%. Okay, guys, so we're talking low teen double-digit dividends that have been, as you can see, pretty consistent since they've listed. Okay, guys, and you can say, well, look, the yields have been going like this and like that. I mean, obviously it's not consistent. Well, actually, the yields have been consistent, but the share prices of the two companies have been fluctuating with the ups and downs of politics. So as a result, as you can see, the yields, go anywhere from 5% all the way up to sort of 12, 13%, 14, 15%, and then sort of back down and then sort of floats between that line, okay? So at today's depressed prices, guys, you will be getting about a forward yield of 11, 12, 13, 14%, depending on where you pick these two stocks up. And as always, guys, my first criteria for looking at any stock is, are they down sort of, 40, 50, 60%? Are they near 5-year lows? Yes, they are. And are their numbers increasing? So do the fundamentals diverge from where the share price is going? Yes, it does. Okay, guys, so it passes the first criteria, so that's why I'm interested. Well, look, why do the stocks sell off so much? And why are they near or at their 5-year lows? I mean, what's caused it, okay? And the answer is pretty simple, right, guys? So very similar to what happened back in 2016, which is what caused the companies to sort of fall 40 to 50% in one day, much like what's happening today, except obviously, same administration, different administration, same political affiliation, and different people, okay, guys? So we've got Sally Yates back sort of 3.5, 4 years ago, and then AOC and Elizabeth Warren, or whatever her name is, campaigning for very, very similar things, okay, guys? And at this point, some of you guys might be thinking, well, look, if they're going to ban private prisons, these companies are screwed, and if you put your money here, you might as well be lighting your money on fire. And based on my research, that is about as far from the truth as can be, okay, guys? And the reason why I say that is because, look, let's actually take a moment to compare the events from 2016 and today, okay, guys? And we can actually summarize these events into 4 or 5 key points, all right? So the Democratic candidates are saying, look, we want all private prisons banned, okay? We want all of these private detention centers, everything banned, no more, okay? We've got key states like New York and California putting a total ban on private prisons or wanting to phase it out. However, California won't be able to do so until 2028. So keep that in mind, guys, okay? That's a very, very important point. All right, third thing. So the politicians are putting immense pressure on the financiers of these prisons, because remember, we have a REIT, and what a REIT does, it borrows money to invest in high-yielding assets to pay back the money, and it goes round and round in circles. It's never going to pay off the debt, okay? The debt just keeps cycling and getting refinanced, and everybody makes money in the process, okay? However, Wall Street has been pressuring the lenders and financiers, and as a result, a lot of the big name banks have ceased funding these companies like Core Civic and the Geo Group. Okay, guys? Okay, point number 4. Wall Street has ceased sell-side coverage, and again, that's as a result of the political pressures. And then finally, look, if they're trying to impeach, well, Donald Trump's already impeached, okay, but they're trying to remove him from office, okay, and Donald Trump has been a big advocate for these companies, okay, private detention centers, private prisons, etc., okay, guys? So these are the reasons why the company has sold off. All right, guys, and we're not going to be going through every single sort of event that caused the share prices to drop and rise back in 2016 and compare it to today, because, that's going to probably take about 30, 40 minutes, okay? So for the sake of having a short, sharp video, we're not going to do that. You guys can read about it when I release my report. But in short, back in 2016, you had Yates campaigning against it. You had Obama campaigning against it. You had Clinton campaigning against it. And despite all of that, you know, they still had to continue to renew their contracts because they've got too many prisoners. It's, you know, overcrowded. Okay. Furthermore, when Donald Trump won the election, the share prices went like this, and you know, through the roof. Okay, guys, and you guys might be saying, well, look, Donald Trump's impeached, you know, and he's probably going to lose. So why are you talking about this? And we'll cover exactly why in part 2 of the video. Why you know, I think the likelihood of that is very low as well. Okay, guys, but let's for now cover why I believe no matter who's in power and who's running the show, they're going to need private prisons, and there's going to be absolutely no way they can get rid of that. Okay, guys, so let's look at some facts here. US has probably the highest incarceration rate among any developed country in the whole world. Okay, 2.3 million people are locked up for reasons from serious to trivial and anything in between. Okay, guys, so because of the culture of incarcerating people, you know, there are a lot of people locked up, and a lot of these facilities are, you know, we're talking 50, 60, 70, sometimes 100 years old. They're aging. They can't really cope with the increased demand. There aren't really new facilities being built, and so, you know, that already we can see that no matter who's in power, it's going to be hard to replace these private prisons, which are 15, 20 years old. Okay. Now, at this point, you guys might be saying, well, okay, cool, but if you look at the prison populations that have hit an all-time high, they're actually down, you know, 11, 12% from the all-time high. Okay. But keep in mind, their all-time high was about 130 odd percent of capacity. Okay. So even if you reduce that by 12%, you're still over capacity. And I think that this picture here really clearly illustrates it, okay, guys, because you can see that whilst we have some states that are reducing their prison populations by X% year on year, you can see that we have a lot of other states that are offsetting these reductions by, you know, increasing their prison populations and the number of incarcerated year on year to all-time highs, and then even newer all-time highs, and it just keeps on going and going. Furthermore, guys, if you look at these two graphs from the Bureau of Prisons, you can actually see that, again, many states are still over capacity, i.e. over 100%, or extremely over capacity, almost up to 170% over capacity. Okay, guys, so we're not saying that the prison populations have declined, so now they're under capacity. They were grossly over capacity, and now that they've declined, they're still over capacity. Okay, guys, so it's kind of like going from very, very bad to very bad, but it's still very bad. Okay, guys, that's the important thing here. Secondly, let's have a look at the number of prisoners that are exceeding capacity. Okay, guys, I mean, you know, you've got places where they're exceeding capacity by anywhere from 2K to up to 28K. Okay, guys, and this just leaves a simple question: if you get rid of all these private prisons, where are you going to put everybody? You're going to let them run loose to keep committing more crimes? You're going to let them, you know, sit in home detention, and who you're going to hire to monitor their detention? You know, there's all sorts of questions. Okay, guys, so it's really easy to say that you're going to, you know, ban something or get rid of something, but then when you actually look at how long it'll take, for example, California, until 2028 to phase it out, you actually realize that it's far easier said than done. Okay, guys, so first reason why I think no matter who's in power, you're still going to need these private prisons. Have a look at all of the people that are sitting in jail right now. Okay, the majority of them, interestingly enough, are not convicted. Okay, and typically what happens is when you're arrested and you're charged, but you're not convicted, you'd be waiting for a hearing. All right, and you can get bailed if you had the money, but considering the average bail amount is $10,000, and that the majority of Americans, and we're talking 60%, okay, guys, so only 40% of Americans have a $1,000 emergency fund. All right, the other 60% will either need to borrow it or steal it. Probably that's why they're arrested and sitting in prison, or some other means. Okay, guys. So what that means is, for all those people who cannot afford bail, they will have to sit in the prisons waiting to get tried. And again, if you think back to this picture here, the majority of the people sitting in your local jails right now are people who cannot afford bail waiting to get tried. Okay, guys? And again, where are you going to put all these people? Whether you're Democratic or Republican, you have to put them somewhere. Okay, guys? So, again, that's contributing to the overpopulation and the need for these private prison services. Okay, guys, reason number 3 why, no matter who's in power, there will be business for CoreCivic and the Geo Group. Okay, have a look at this table above you guys. Now, there's quite a lot of figures, but what we can safely assume is that for everybody who's arrested and released, by year 9, 83.4% of them will be rearrested again. What does this mean, and what are these numbers telling us? Well, simply put, America doesn't just have a prison overcrowding problem, they have a massive recidivism problem, okay? And again, that's better for the likes of Geo and CoreCivic because now not only can they address the prison overcrowding issues with their facilities, they can then say, hey, look, we've got services to help address recidivism by helping people get educations or qualifications or whatever it is to help them reintegrate back into society. Okay, so why don't we also help you with that, Mr. or Mrs. Senator or Governor, whoever it is that's in power. Okay, and so if we have a look at an extract from the earnings call, you'll see that their non-core prison segments are growing massively. Okay, guys. They're growing massively, so not only are they getting business, which is slow and steady for their core outsourced prison services, but the fact is that their services to address things like recidivism or detention centers, which we'll cover a little bit later on, you can see that there's no problems, okay, guys? So America has got a lot of problems that they can't just say, let's get rid of private prisons, well, what are you going to do with all the people and how are you going to fix it, all right, guys? Another reason to keep that all in mind. Next reason is, as you can see, highlighted in the boxes there, the BOP is short for the Bureau of Prisons, which, as we covered earlier on in the video, you'll see that there was these sort of slowly declining incarcerated numbers from their all-time highs, okay? But have a look at what's offsetting that, okay? The ICE is the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Authority, okay, guys? So have a look at how, as the BOP is declining, the ICE is increasing, and almost exploded, right? I mean, as you can see, 17% from 2013 to 29% today of their revenues, and then that's the Geo Group, and then have a look at CoreCivic's one, okay, guys? So what we have is, not only do we have the need to address recidivism offsetting the decline of prisoner numbers from their all-time highs, but the increase in the amount of asylum seekers and the people flooding in from places through the sort of narrow gap to try and get into America, that's massively increasing, okay, because of geopolitical risks being caused in the likes of South and Central America, okay, guys? So you have two things offsetting a slowly declining overall prison population, but the two things offsetting it are actually increasing exponentially, all right, guys? And, some of you guys might be thinking, well, look, Elizabeth Warren is trying to ban private detention centers as well, okay, guys? And to that I say, well, the same thing as I said before. All right, cool. Where are you going to put all these people? You can say, well, what if they just don't arrest people? Okay, cool. So you just let anybody into the country. I mean, look, guys, again, logically it doesn't make sense, all right? And you guys might say, well, look, Trump is excessively arresting people and he's excessively cracking down on immigration. Well, look, he might be doing so, all right? But even let's say if we don't look at the highs over here, when we just go back to sort of over there, okay, guys, but that's still relatively flat from where it was when Obama was in power. So worst case, we'll just go back to sort of here for the number of detained immigrants while they await their trials to get asylum. Well, you can see that, again, that's not going to zero. There's still going to be a demand and need for it, albeit it might not be growing exponentially, but then you'll still have the core business to maintain dividends, okay, guys? But we will cover later on in part 2 of the video why I don't think, the whole Trump issue is a problem, because I actually think that he will get elected for another term, all right? But we'll cover that a little bit later on. But as you can see here, guys, okay, take a look at the graph to the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, and you will see that the immigration crackdown has not just increased, but almost exploded, all right, guys? So that's actually fueling a lot of the growth that's going to come for Core Civic and Geo. And as you can see over here, if we actually look at the projections from the likes of your USMS, which is the US Marshal Service, and the ICE, you'll actually see that they are projecting that the crackdown will continue to increase. But even so, you know, it was still along the sort of same levels as back in 2011 and 2012. And again, back in 2011, 2012, Obama was in power. So this really supports my point that no matter who's in power, they're still going to have these problems that need to be addressed. Okay, and so these problems won't just go away because you say we're going to ban private prisons or detention centers. And finally, if we have a look at these two graphs over here, you'll actually see that the rate at which the prisoner population is declining is projected to take, we're talking sort of more than half a century to get to a point where it would significantly hurt Core Civic and Geo's business. And if we actually have a look at it over here, even if we fast forward to 2023, you can see that it's only still sort of a 15% decline from where it is today. And at the rate at which the other areas where the services of Core Civic and Geo are needed and they're growing, it's more than offsetting that decline. Furthermore, you guys can read this in my report when I release it after the second video, you'll see that the violent crimes aren't actually reducing, but it's more so the things like drug crimes and property crimes, okay? And we're talking about these sort of petty rats and mice type crimes, okay, guys? So, you know, things like people who might carry 1 gram or 2 of pot and then they smoke it and they get caught, or, you know, maybe they go into the shop and they steal a sweater, okay, guys? I mean, you shouldn't really be locking these people up in the first place, in my opinion, and so all it's really doing is it's just mean reverting the mass incarceration from over-incarcerated to moderately incarcerated. But once all the low-hanging fruit has been picked, again, you know, it's not like you're going to let some violent offenders off willy-nilly, okay, guys? And so once they pick all the low-hanging fruit, I actually think the rate at which the prison population is going to decline is not going to continue to decline, but I think it's actually going to decline and decelerate, and then sort of continue sideways going forward. But again, guys, that's many, many years into the future. You know, who knows what will happen, okay? Maybe there might be more legislative reform. Maybe people in America will stop offending. Who knows, okay, guys? But look, the key point here is that we've covered sort of 4 or 5 key pieces of evidence to support the fact that, you know, no matter who's in power, there's going to be a need for Geo and Core Civic services. If it's the Democrats, well, they're probably just going to cruise along and your stock price won't go back up that much because they're not going to grow, they're just going to sort of stay steady. But if it's the Republicans, then you can see that, you know, with the recidivism problem and Donald Trump cracking down on immigration, you've got a lot of growth catalysts coming for the next sort of, you know, 2, 3, 4 years for the company, okay, guys? And so there's quite a good margin of safety there, whereby you collect a handsome dividend of, you know, 10, 11, 12, 13%, if nothing happens, and you wait for the catalyst, and then let's say if Trump does get reelected, which I think he will do, and I'll cover that in part 2 of my video, then you'll see that, you know, it's sort of low downside, quite high upside, you know, good re-rate, collect a nice dividend, okay? All right, guys, so in the interest of not making a video too long, that is the end of part 1 of today's video. Keep an eye out after Christmas and the New Year holidays for part 2, where we will cover evidence pointing to the fact that those other reasons that the stocks have seen themselves get sold off, i.e., you know, Wall Street ceasing coverage, the lenders not choosing to lend to, the lenders being pressured to remove financing, okay? So the lenders being pressured to stop financing these 2 companies, okay? We've got the ETFs kicking them out of the ETFs, such as the Vanguard ETF, kicking them out of the REIT ETFs. You know, all of these things in part 2, we're going to cover why I don't believe those are a material risk to CoreCivic or the Geo Group either. So that's the end of part 1 of the video. Hope you really enjoyed watching it. And guys, remember to get this video and the next one to 70 likes, and then I'll make the report available soon after, okay? So until next time, happy investing, and I'll catch you after the Christmas New Year's break for part 2 of the CoreCivic and Geo video, and happy holidays.